We're here with Kia for the unveiling of the EV5. It's all electric and it's a 5-passenger SUV.
A compact SUV, if you follow along, compact SUVs are the meat of the market. And this is all electric, and we're going to walk around the outside. We'll show you the inside, the features that we know. We currently don't know its actual on sale date, and we don't know the official pricing. There's a few other things they're holding out on, right?
Kia is expecting it to arrive at dealerships sometime in 2026, but we don't have power numbers. What we do know is that there are two battery options. There's a standard battery that's 60.3 kilowatt hour, and there's a long range battery that's 81.4 kilowatt hour. It's going to be available in a front wheel drive and all wheel drive option, and it's going to have the North America standard charging port. So that's
basically the Tesla port,
right? That's right. So you've got more options on the road for DC fast charging. This has the 400-volt charging architecture. So it's the same as the EV3 that we saw in South Korea, but 800-volt for the EV6 and the EV9.
Yeah, so that's a step backwards for some people. They'll think, oh, you know, maybe it isn't going to charge as fast. Well, we're going to have to wait and see on all of that when all the official stats come out closer to the on-sale date. So what we're going to do now is talk about the outside of this thing. And the first thing I have to say, Andrea, is, honey, they shrunk the EV9. Now, as Andrew just mentioned, we were in Korea and we had a chance to drive the EV3, which is smaller than this. And if you look at the EV9, this EV5 and the EV3, they all have a very similar kind of profile. And I mentioned a moment ago that compact SUVs are the meat of the market. Well, when Kia brought out its first electric crossover, it's right over there, it's the EV6, which has a real sleek silhouette, more like a tall hatchback. This is exactly what consumers want. A more upright, tall SUV, similar to the EV9, just shrunk down a little bit. 2 rows of seats, 5 passengers, exactly what people are looking for. So you think about an electric version of like a Sportage. So that's kind of a modern size, similar size to that. These lights are called the 3D Star Map lighting, and I like the way that they've integrated this black bar that goes right across the front of the grille. Also, you get the EV Tiger Nose grille from Kia. If you kind of look closely, you can still see a little bit of that tiger nose. Now down the side, wheel sizes, they start at 18 inches, goes to 19 inches, and even 20 inches. And what's this color called?
Frost blue.
Frost blue. Now sure, this looks modern, but it also has the boxy looks that people really like in utility vehicles. Even though people might never go anywhere adventurous just to work and home, they want their vehicle to give off that look. And you see that with this. The boxy dimensions really make it look athletic, but at the same time really sleek. And here's what you notice at the back, or maybe you don't notice. There's really no handle here. The windshield wiper at the back is hidden under the rear valance. It's a very sleek look at the back, and this is where the handle is. Nice to see that it's power operated. And they've done a nice job of color combinations. So you have this shiny black plastic at the bottom, which really helps anchor and give the vehicle some presence, and at the bottom makes it look like it's anchored. At the back here, we've got extra storage. There's 2 compartments underneath the floor, so even though it has a battery that runs the length between the wheelbase, you get extra storage. Oh, and there's a frunk.
While the interior of the EV5 doesn't disappoint, many Kia models feel a little bit more luxurious and upscale. This has got sustainable materials in it. Kia is really looking at more environmentally friendly products. There's 10 in total. This has a 30-inch display screen, and it is sleek looking, very, very clean interior. Take a look at this center console. It's floating. There's storage underneath, but there's also storage up here, 2 cup holders. Take a look at this. It's this soft material for the inside, very different. I don't think I've ever seen this in a model. I assume this is the top trim because I've taken a look at all the different features. This has got heated and ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, there's driver's seat memory with 2 settings, and a panoramic sunroof with a shade. And guess what? It opens. Take a look at that. You don't see that very often in EVs because they're trying to save weight, so it's more of a fixed glass roof. The interior is really quite nice. This material is soft. I find the seats, obviously we've got to sit in it for a longer period of time and drive this to know for sure, but the seats do feel quite comfortable. This has got a roller volume knob. Oh, you can hear it. And then you have proper buttons for temperature and for your modes. This is more like haptic, home, map, search, media, and setup. And this screen is very similar to what we see in other Kia models. The wireless charger is at the center console. As I mentioned, the cup holders, and then you've got USB-C ports and more buttons. There is some hard plastic on the door panels and at the center console, but it's more of a shiny gray instead of that shiny black plastic. It does look better. I assume that it's also going to collect dust, but it's at a minimal in here. Also, all of this is soft touch. I don't see any fabric trim. Usually with Kia models, the EV3 had a little bit of fabric. This is definitely a different look, and it also has a mood lamp for ambient lighting, which you can adjust to improve ambiance in your EV5. Like other Kia EVs, you've got the column shifter, and the steering wheel is a nice size. It's not too big. It has a good feel to it.
I don't know if you noticed on the outside, floppy hidden door handles. Why, Kia? Anyway, the inside, the back seat is really quite roomy. Andrea had the roof open, but it's shut now. There's excellent leg room, good headroom. We drove the EV3, the shrunken version of even this one. I'll show you as a cross-reference me in the back seat of that model. So this is really quite nice and big. The seats are pretty comfy. There's an armrest here. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed on the dash, it says right there, International Pre-Production Model. I'm not sure if this feature is coming to market, but how about that? Time for lunch in the back seat. That is pretty slick. Let's see if the seats recline. Yes, the seats recline. That's pretty good. There's no fore and aft, but they do recline. I gotta say, I like the material in here. This is obviously a faux leather, but it feels really quite nice and roomy. People want a compact utility with room. It's just similar in size to the Sportage. And I'm looking here for the vents. The vents aren't there. The vents are here in the B-pillar. Nice place to put it. Well, we were in Korea driving the EV3 last year. We were actually quite impressed with it and thought it was a really nice product. We do know the range and the power of that one, and I think this one will have the same, if not more.
Well, the EV3 had up to 605 kilometers, 375 miles of range. Now that's based on the European test cycle. But what we found when we were in South Korea driving around is that was the range that we were getting. It was quite impressive. Now that front wheel drive long range model that we drove, of the EV3, has 201 horsepower and 208 pound-feet of torque. Like we said, we don't have the range numbers or the power numbers yet, but I would think that it will either be, as Zach mentioned, the same range and maybe a little more power.
I think it'll probably have more because you've got to have, you know, a bigger vehicle. All-wheel drive is going to be important for the Canadian market. Now, speaking of markets, we found something out that this vehicle, the EV5, is for right now only for Canada. The United States has not said we'll take it yet.
No, it's quite surprising because we really feel that this would be a great vehicle for the US market, but you know what? Things change along the way. This isn't going to be available in Canada until 2026. So by that time, who knows, maybe the US will change its mind.
I do appreciate the EV6. I know it's won all kinds of awards, international awards. I do find the roof is quite low. So this is going to appeal, I believe, to many, many more people.
And I think that's the key. The EV6 has got that sporty vibe to it, and maybe this one is just a little bit more practical for families with its boxy design. I mean, Kia's kind of nailed it on all the different EV categories with lots of options for different budgets and different interests.
Like if you think about the number 2 seller of EVs in North America, so Tesla's number 1, but it's the Hyundai Group, including Kia, that sells the most EVs outside of Tesla's because they keep pushing with new products.
So that's a first look of the Kia EV5. We hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.